Business Essentials Podcast. Unlock your career.
Learn to speak business English like a pro.
Ever stare at your inbox wondering why your carefully crafted meeting request vanished into the void, while your colleague's casual three-liner gets instant replies? I'm Marcus, and today we're cracking the code on requests that actually land meetings, not ghostings.
Marcus, this is gold for everyone who's tired of radio silence.
Sarah's sharing the exact phrasing that cuts through inbox chaos. Sarah, why do most meeting requests just disappear?
Most people don't realize this. Over 70% of meeting requests get zero response. It's not rudeness, it's mental overload. Vague asks like, "Can we meet next week?" force them to brainstorm times, check calendars, weigh priorities, all before they can even say yes.
So you're handing them homework instead of a simple decision?
Right. Research shows 46% of professionals attend 3 or more meetings daily. When your request creates extra decision-making burden, their automatic response is often to just ignore it.
So what's actually happening in their brain when they see that vague request?
The prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for decision-making, becomes depleted after making multiple decisions throughout the day. When they see, "Let me know when works for you," their brain recognizes this as requiring effort. The easier response is to not respond at all.
That makes sense. So what should people do instead?
Provide specific options. Something like, "I'd love to discuss the Q2 budget. I have Tuesday 2 to 3 p.m. or Thursday 10 to 11 a.m. available. Which works better for you?"
And that gets better results?
Dramatically better. Research shows specific time proposals increase meeting acceptance from around 15 to 20% for vague requests to 45 to 50% for specific ones. You're doing the decision-making work for them.
Can you give me that phrase exactly as you'd say it?
Sure. "I have 20 minutes available Tuesday at 2 p.m. or Thursday at 10 a.m. Which time works better for your schedule?" Notice I'm giving them a choice between 2 specific options.
So native speakers would say, "Which works better?" instead of, "Please tell me when you're available?"
Right. "Which works better" is more natural and frames it as choosing between 2 good options, rather than creating options from scratch.
Okay, so let's talk about what people get wrong. Give me an example of a bad meeting request.
Imagine you need to meet with your VP of operations to discuss a project timeline. You send, "Hi Jennifer, I hope this email finds you well. Can we meet sometime next week to discuss the project? Let me know what works for you."
That sounds pretty normal, honestly.
It does, but here's what's wrong. No specific timing. Vague purpose, "discuss the project," doesn't tell Jennifer what to prepare for or how long this will take. You've put all the scheduling work on her.
And that backfires?
Completely. When she sees this request, her brain does a quick calculation. "This requires me to do work before I can even decide if I want to meet." Response rate for requests like this? Maybe 10 to 15%.
So what's the right way to handle that same situation?
You'd say, "Hi Jennifer, I'd like to walk through the project timeline and get your input on the 3 delivery options. I expect this will take 20 minutes. I have Tuesday 2 to 3 p.m. or Thursday 10 to 11 a.m. available. Which works better for you?"
Oh wow, that's so different.
Now Jennifer knows exactly what you want to discuss, how long it will take, and she has 2 clear options. Response rate for requests like this? 45 to 50%.
Let's talk about timing. Is there actually a best time to request meetings?
Yes, Tuesday at 2:30 p.m. consistently delivers the highest meeting acceptance rates, around 85%. Friday afternoon proposals get less than 40% acceptance.
Wait, Tuesday at 2:30 specifically?
Specifically, it's biology. By Tuesday, people are past the Monday fog and into their weekly rhythm. The 2:30 p.m. time hits right after lunch when energy is recovering, but before the late afternoon slump.
So Friday afternoons are the worst?
The worst. Friday afternoons see a 20 to 35% drop in engagement and a 25% higher no-show rate. People are mentally checked out, thinking about the weekend.
What about the psychology of politeness? Does that actually matter?
Hugely. Here's where most people get confused. They think politeness means using words like please and thank you. But research shows those magic words barely move the needle. What really works is understanding the reciprocity principle.
For our listeners learning English, what exactly is the reciprocity principle?
Reciprocity is the human instinct to return favors. When someone shows you respect or consideration, you instinctively feel obligated to return that respect. We have very nasty names for people who take without giving back. We call them moochers, ingrates.
So, how does that apply to meeting requests?
When you acknowledge someone's constraints, like saying, I know your calendar is packed, you're showing respect for their reality. That triggers the reciprocity principle. They feel obligated to reciprocate that respect.
Give me a concrete example of how that sounds.
Instead of, can we meet? You'd say, I know you're managing multiple priorities right now, so I'd only need 15 minutes of your time if you have availability this week.
And that actually increases acceptance rates?
Research shows polite requests that acknowledge constraints can boost acceptance by 30 to 40%, compared to demands that ignore the person's reality.
What's another common mistake people make?
Apology overload. People send requests like, I'm so sorry to bother you, but would it be okay if maybe we could possibly meet at some point? I completely understand if you're too busy.
And that's a problem?
Yes, because excessive apologies signal low confidence. The recipient perceives this as a low priority ask. When you sound uncertain about whether your meeting is even worth having, why would they make it a priority?
So, what should they say instead?
Keep it confident and clear. I'd appreciate your input on this strategy. Would you have 20 minutes this week? No excessive apologizing. You're demonstrating that the meeting has value.
That's a good phrase. I'd appreciate your input. How would you use that in a real meeting request?
You'd use it when you genuinely value someone's expertise. It's more respectful than, I need to pick your brain, which feels extractive. It signals that you value what they bring.
Okay, let's talk about personalization. How important is that?
Critical. But here's where people go wrong. They think inserting someone's first name counts as personalization. Research analyzing millions of emails shows that generic personalization actually decreases response rates.
Wait, using their name makes things worse?
When it's obviously automated, yes. If your email says, Hi Jennifer, but nothing else is personalized, Jennifer immediately recognizes it's a template sent to hundreds of people.
So what's real personalization?
Real personalization means referencing something specific about their work, like, I read your recent article on supply chain optimization and would love your perspective on how those principles might apply to our Q2 initiative.
So you're proving you've actually consumed their content?
Right. That proves you've invested time understanding their expertise. Acceptance rates for highly targeted, personalized requests reach 40 to 50%, compared to 5 to 10% for generic ones.
Give me a real-world scenario. What would this look like in practice?
Imagine you're trying to get a meeting with a senior executive you've never met. Bad approach. Hi, Michael. I'm reaching out to discuss how we could work together. Can we schedule a call? Let me know what works.
And what happens with that?
Michael gets maybe 50 emails a day. This one offers zero context, no specific timing, and no indication of what work together even means. Response rate, maybe 5%.
So what's the right approach?
Good approach. Hi, Michael. I saw your presentation at the tech conference about renewable energy integration. I'm working on a similar initiative and would value your perspective. Would you have 20 minutes on Tuesday afternoon or Thursday morning?
That's completely different.
You've acknowledged his specific work, shown genuine interest, explained why you're reaching out, and provided specific timing options. Response rate jumps to 40 to 50%.
What about follow-up? If someone doesn't respond, what should you do?
This is where most people either give up too soon or become annoying. Research shows 70% of positive responses come after the second or third email, not the first.
What does strategic follow-up look like?
Wait 3 to 4 days, then send a polite follow-up that removes pressure. Something like, I wanted to follow up on my meeting request. No pressure if the timing doesn't work, but I'd still love to connect if you have availability.
So you're giving them an out.
You're removing the pressure while keeping the door open. That acknowledgement makes them more likely to respond positively rather than feeling pressured or guilty.
Let's talk about the framework. How should someone structure their entire request?
There's a 4-phase approach. Phase 1 is research. Spend 10 minutes finding something specific about the person: their recent LinkedIn posts, articles they've written, projects they're leading.
So you're building credibility before you even send the email?
Phase 2 is the actual request. Open with that specific reference, clearly state your purpose, provide specific time options, and mention the expected duration. Keep it to 50 to 125 words total.
Why that specific word count?
Emails of 50 to 125 words achieve 50% reply rates. Longer emails drop to 5 to 8% because people don't have time to read them.
What's phase 3?
Phase 3 is commitment confirmation. Once they say yes, immediately send a calendar invite with a clear agenda. This activates the consistency principle.
For our listeners, what does the consistency principle mean?
The consistency principle means that once people make a specific commitment, they experience internal psychological pressure to follow through. If they've committed to Tuesday at 2 p.m., their brain wants to behave consistently with that decision.
So vague agreements don't create that same pressure?
Not at all. "We should meet sometime" has a 30 to 40% no-show rate. Tuesday at 2:30 p.m. has less than 10% no-show rate.
And phase 4?
Phase 4 is professional follow-through. Show up on time, stick to your agenda, and send a summary within 24 hours. This builds your reputation as someone worth meeting with.
Before we wrap up, let's do a quick vocabulary recap. What were the main terms we covered today?
The main ones were reciprocity principle, consistency principle, cognitive load, and decision fatigue. Reciprocity principle is the human instinct to return favors. Consistency principle means people feel pressure to follow through on specific commitments.
And the other two?
Cognitive load is the mental effort required to make a decision. Decision fatigue is what happens when someone's made too many decisions throughout the day. Their brain gets depleted and defaults to avoidance.
Great. So our listeners can use these terms when they're talking about communication strategy or understanding why certain approaches work better.
These are concepts you'll see in professional development discussions, productivity strategies, and behavioral psychology applications.
All right, Sarah, before we finish, what's the one thing you want people to take from this episode?
Stop thinking of meeting requests as a formality. The difference between a 15% acceptance rate and an 85% acceptance rate often comes down to 3 things: specific timing, clear purpose, and acknowledging the other person's reality.
Here's what we want from listeners. Think of someone whose input you need. Use the 4-phase framework. Research them for 10 minutes. Write your request with specific times and clear purpose. Send it, and track what happens.
And if you're currently using vague timing like sometime next week, test the difference. Send one request with specific times to one person and your old approach to another.
Thanks for listening, everyone. And Sarah, thanks for breaking this down so clearly.
My pleasure, Marcus. Great conversation.
We'll catch you next time. Business Essentials Podcast. Unlock your career.
Learn to speak business English like a pro.